My friend find out her boyfriend of 4 years has a wife and kids. This happened right before Thanksgiving. My friend, 21F, and her boyfriend, 31M, have been together for 4 years. We'll call him Mark. They started dating when she was a junior in high school. In the 4 years they dated she never introduced him to her family nor was she introduced to his, now she knows why. He told her that he has an ex-wife and kids from his previous relationship, which is why he never had any money and she was the one to always pay for their dates, vacations, food and other things. He always seemed to be a bit too controlling. One time she was supposed to go on a ski trip with her friends and he lied about his friend dying to keep her from going to be there for him after the funeral. When she asked him questions about the friend, about who he was, how close they were, how he died, he wasn't able to answer any of those, which made her suspicious, but she ended up staying with him and not going on the trip. Now that you some background on how their relationship was like, we'll fast forward to a week before Thanksgiving. He was staying at her apartment that she shared with her roommates from college. They were going to sleep and all of a sudden there's this really loud banging on the front door. She thought it was her roommates fucking around, but it kept on going. She got up to open the door and there she saw an older man and a middle-aged woman. The older man asked if Mark is here. She was very confused and asked why. He introduced himself as his father and the woman as Mark's wife. My friend was stunned. The father started attacking her and she started yelling about how she had no idea he was married. She asked the wife to come in and sit down with her and talk one-on-one to understand what the hell is going on. My friend proceeded to tell her about how they've been together for 4 years. The wife went on to explain they have a great marriage with a decent sex life and 2 kids. She couldn't believe what she was hearing and started apologizing about how she truly had no clue he had a wife and that the only thing he mentioned was that he was divorced with kids from a previous relationship. They ended up breaking, of course, and the wife will be divorcing Mark. Has anyone here been in a similar situation? Any suggestions on how to deal with it in a healthy way? And yes, she was okay with me posting this, her and I wrote this with her consent. My friend, 21F, and her boyfriend, 31M, have been together for 4 years. We'll call him Mark. They started dating when she was a junior in high school. Well, that's all that anyone needs to know. He's a predator. She needs to break things off. So he was 27 and she was 17. What the actual fuck, that man is a predator. I'm sorry about what happened to your friend, but if nothing else this is a good learning experience for her. As far as getting over him, well, just keep her busy, that way she won't be alone thinking about it. I think ideally she should take up hobbies etc. Oh, and your friend might want to get checked for STDs. No idea how many people Y was cheating on or with. I'm glad she got the ability to speak with the wife. I can't imagine that guilt of being blamed for breaking a marriage. How to deal with this in a healthy way. Blame him. Blame him for every single moment of that relationship. And then forget it. He's not worth her time or concern. Block him on everything and just take time to find herself is what I'd suggest. 4 years, so he groomed a child. I am sorry, she was 16 when they started dating? Can you not report this predator to the cops? That poor girl. The only healthy way to deal is to stay far, far, far away from that man. At some point your friend will realize she was groomed and may need a therapist to work through this. Maybe start doing some research on that. Good luck. Edit. Oh, sorry, she was 17 and he was what, 26? Still icky. I hope that your friend can heal from this, and I wonder if she and the wife ever exchanged any more messages. End of the wife realized that her husband groomed and preyed on a child. She was what? 17 years old, maybe just turning 18 years old, and he was using her and having her pay for everything? If I were her, I would sue his ass to collect some of the money that he fraudulently took from me. I realize that's kind of empty, but he's a real scum and the only reason not to burn his career so he can support his children. But I might consider consulting a lawyer, and I think I would reach back out to the wife. I hope that they ended things at least on decent note with each other, considering they were both victims of this depraved sociopathic man. We have a great marriage, she says, while her husband has been sneaking off to spend the night balls deep in a child. When the relationship started, OP's friend was 17, a child. Healthy way? Cut all contact with him, and never see him again. Get you friend some therapy. Make sure she doesn't take him back. He just used her and lied to her for 4 years. Girlfriend, 19F, got drunk at party, says something happened but refuses to tell me what happened. Last week my girlfriend went to a party for her country's Independence Day and she told me she got really drunk. That was okay to me because I knew she was with her family. However, the next day we were together and her energy was totally off. She was acting really weird and I told her, but she refused and said that I was the one acting weird. A few days went by, she was still acting weird and was easily irritated. But yesterday she told me that something happened on that day, but she said she didn't want to talk about that. I mean, I want to respect her will and not talk about it, but I'm really worried about her and cannot think about anything else. Her cheating on me is not off the table, but I don't really think she would do that to me because she's always telling me how much she despises cheaters. Like when we watch TV shows together, she always hates people that cheat. So my main concern is that someone did something to her. I did ask her if someone touched her against her will, but she said a raw, no, when I was expecting an answer like, geez no, of course not. Maybe I'm overthinking too much about her answer IDK. Yesterday I kept asking her what happened, but she's stubborn and won't tell me. She also told me that what happened was not related to her family or school. I really don't know what to do because I don't want to keep asking when she told me explicitly that she don't want to talk about it. But on the other hand, I'm really worried and I can't stop thinking about it. Does someone has any advice? Edit. To everyone saying she is cheating, IDK man. I don't want to seem like I'm in denial. I don't think her reaction was of someone that would cheat. IDK. I've never cheated and I never will. Hope so. But if I did, I wouldn't start acting weird. I think I would do the exact opposite. Seem like nothing had happened and don't make my partner be suspicious. I think you should tell her that you know she doesn't want to talk about it, but you think it's important to know what happened for two reasons. 1. Since you don't know what happened, your mind is jumping to the worst case scenario. Like she possibly made a mistake while drunk, or worse, someone did something to her. 2. More importantly, you noticed that she's acting strange and you want to make sure she's safe and will be okay. Everyone is saying she cheated and to dump her. But it is also entirely plausible that she was assaulted or grabbed inappropriately. Responses to that are incredibly similar to her current behavior. I'm not saying that she for sure cheated or for sure was assaulted. However, it might do well to give her some time to stew on it and come back to it later. I'm just saying that leaving her for behavior that may have been triggered by an assault. As for people saying she was acting immature, trauma does that to you. It would harm her more to leave before knowing what happened. If you want to know for sure, wait a week and say, I don't want to push, but your behavior a couple of weeks ago made me worried that you cheated. If that is what happened, I have a right to know. Her reaction says that she could have cheated on you. She is also shifting the situation onto you by saying you're the one that is acting weird. Cheaters will also talk about how much they hate cheating. Time to think about finding someone else. My guess is she was taken advantage of somehow, but you can never be sure what happened until she decides to share. Give her space and tell her you're there for her if and, or when she wants to talk. She cheated, bro. I hate to break it to you, but I'm 99.99% sure she cheated. If you don't think she cheated, then I wouldn't even try to go down that particular rabbit hole. I think you're right that this sounds more like some kind of trauma. Maybe even as simple as seeing someone that brought up some bad memories from her past. Instead of trying to get her to tell you about it, just tell her that whatever happened or whatever has upset her, you love her, that you'll be there for her, and that you want to listen whenever she is ready to talk. Don't keep pushing her to talk about something that she is making clear she doesn't want to talk about. Dude, with all due respect, your girlfriend pretty much said that something major happened, but she doesn't want to tell you about it. Red flags for something bad happening. You either accept not knowing and move on, or tell her you need to discuss this to continue the relationship. For what it's worth, I think it's cheating. Lots of people hate cheaters. Even if they are one. She most likely cheated and she feels bad about it. I'm tired of hearing about my girlfriend's ex and how abusive he was. This may sound insensitive, but I'm just so tired of my girlfriend always bringing up the things he'd do to her, how abusive he was or how different I am compared to him. I'm glad I'm a better partner, but it gets annoying to constantly be compared to someone and constantly hear her talk about him. He obviously hurt her and marked her forever, and I know she can't just forget about it. I can't tell her to stop because I don't want her to feel like I don't care about her past. What can I do? I did that when I was young. My boyfriend at the time took me out to dinner, and afterward at the table, he took out paper strips and pens and had us each write 3 things we loved about each other and 3 areas of improvement for each other. One of his was that I talk about my ex too much. I got the message and I appreciated the effort he put in to keep it light and not hurt my feelings. Tell her that you understand her past, but that you don't feel good being compared to her ex. That you will support her through any relapses she has about her experience, but that it would help if she focused on just what you do, and not how it relates to her past. Has she gone to therapy to discuss it through with a professional? Maybe suggest therapy? She's probably going to live with that for the rest of her life. It's very traumatic. So, if the relationship was abusive, she may be suffering from PTSD and hypervigilance. I hate to break it to you, but that sort of thing is not easy to just get over. It can take years to heal from abuse. I say show a little compassion and try to figure out where she is at in her healing process. Victims of abuse never come out of an abusive situation the same. They can have highs and lows, suffer severe depression, question their self-worth, and literally have to rediscover who they are once they are no longer attached to the abusive person. You getting mad at her is probably making her feel worse about herself. Is she talking about her ex, or is she talking about the abuse and how much better off she is now that she's free from the abuse? Yes, those are two different things, and you handle each one differently. I've been married for 8 years, and I have survived an absolute fuck ton of abuse from family, ex-boyfriends, religious leaders, and others. I'm in therapy, but sometimes it helps that my husband just lets me be fucking mad about having been abused. It helps that he lets me tell him, hey, thank you for not being a piece of shit, worded more nicely than that, but yeah. Ask if she wants you to listen, or if she wants solutions or an outlet. And let her know when you're not able to just listen. Open communication is key. Yeah, she's probably gone through some traumatic stuff, so it's understandable that she brings it up so much with you. Perhaps she means some of it as praise towards you? Anyway, I'd just sit down and have a heart-to-heart with her. Tell her pretty much the same thing you posted here, that you understand and care, but it also makes you feel poorly sometimes. Let her know she can talk to you after it. Just ask if she could try not mention quite as often. She probably hasn't even thought it having that effect on you. Having been in an abusive relationship and now in a new one that's already vastly different, it's hard not to talk about the ways it's better. She might even be vocalizing it just to tell herself, yes, this is real. It's a lot to move past. How long have you been together? If it's recent, I think you should just let her process it. You don't ever get over that, but time does heal and things will trigger her less and less as time goes on if she's in therapy and processing it and all. It feels like she just really feels comfortable opening up to you and talking about it. Maybe just redirect her, ask, do you need to vent about this right now, or is it something we don't have to focus on? I don't want either of us to keep thinking about this unless you really need to talk right now. Wife doesn't chip in. Hey, need some advice? I am 30. Married my wife, F32, 1 year ago. We both have high-paying jobs. Life was good until recently. I basically have to financially support my family now, and I'm beginning to feel the strain. My wife refuses to chip into anything. She wouldn't help buy groceries, fuel, bills, anything. She asks for new dresses etc., or would straight up ask for cash despite saving 100% of her income. This annoys the hell out of me. She wants a kid now. I'm not sure if I want to keep this up. You don't have a wife, you have a legally attached sugar baby. I don't plan on working an actual job a few years down the line and still want to find ways to chip in for expenses with my boyfriend. I wouldn't get a kid involved in this. Whether it's worth a divorce or counseling or anything is up to you, but do not have kids with this woman. So what do you think is the reason you can't seem to tell her that you're strained paying for everything and she needs to contribute? I never understand these posts. Aren't people supposed to get this sort of thing figured out before they get married? Whether or not you'll share bank accounts, how bills will be split up, agreements about debt, how housework will be split up, who is responsible for the upkeep of the lawn, etc. It's just inconceivable to me that people get married without having these conversations. This needs to be immediately spoken about. Were these expectations in place before being together? Does she expect someone to take care of her? Does she contribute in any way? She's an adult just like you, she can't just hoard her cash while cohabiting with you, she needs to pay her share. And if she wants something like a dress, she can't buy it herself? It begs the question of where her money is going that she can't buy things herself. You married a princess, don't have kids with her. Marriage is supposed to be 50-50 unless there's a prenuptial agreement? Don't have a kid with someone so incredibly selfish. What's her argument for not pulling her weight? Can't imagine anything that's valid. TBH, I'd find saving 100% of her income hella suspicious. What changed recently that it became so? Perhaps start there. Are you aware of her savings? Is there a shared, personal target she's working towards? It'd her cushion for when she, two of you, have kids.